1960, in Youngstown, Ohio. Things weren't too good.
We were eating rations from the U.S. Army they used to give out. We used to have to make our beds out of 2 buckets and a board. It was so bad that my mother wrote President Kennedy at the time, and he read her letter on television. And I said, "Mom, isn't that the picture I drew? And it's talking about you."
What year was that?
I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I don't remember.
My Uncle Isidore came to Youngstown, and my Aunt Cleo said, "Girl, why you living like this?" We were young, we were still having fun. We didn't realize how bad things were.
Well, first we stayed with my Uncle Isidore and Aunt Cleo for a while, and then we moved to Jersey City.
Everything that we owned was in the back of Bel Air.
We saw New York before we got to Jersey. Seeing all these tall buildings, it was just like, wow, New York, skyscrapers and everything. I'd never seen anything like that. And then we moved to yet another condemned building on Maple Street. No windows, must have been like 200-300 rats downstairs. Every time we turned the stove on, the rats would run all over the, remember that? It was a condemned building, basically. That's where we moved.
I grew up on Storms Avenue, 46 Storms Avenue, but prior to that, we lived in an alley called Ingwerson Place. We had the big potbelly stove. Anybody could use our bathroom because the doors, nothing worked. And my father used to walk up the stairs back then singing Moody's Mood for Love. There I go, there I go, there I go.
There I go, there I go, there I go, there.
He was a coal man, and at that time they put the coal on a chute or they carried it on their backs. He'd come in, you know, with all the coal dust on him, and he'd go directly to the bathroom, and he'd go, "Damn, who's all hot water?" My neighborhood was black people and Italian people. They would all sit in their yard, and they'd have mandolins and guitars. They'd sing, you know, this is the sound of Italy. A very joyous neighborhood. The Manhattans used to rehearse in our neighborhood. There was another group, and they had The Boy from New York City. It was a huge hit record. Ooh, ah, cuckoo kitty. Ooh, yeah. And we would watch them load the drums in the station wagon. And I'd be sitting on my stoop, and he would say, "Hey, Georgie, we're going to take you on the road with us." And I'd tell him, "Mom, he's going to take me on the road." "No, I'm not going to take you on the road. You're 12 years old." When we moved out of the alley, we moved to 46 Storms. We were at the poorest, and then we moved to the poorer. Coldwater Railroad, flat roaches and rats, which is still there today because periodically I go back to Jersey City and go, there it is.